What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. There is roughly 1 month or so until the Forsaken DLC comes out in September, and we do have the Solstice of Heroes event starting next week that'll hold us over until then. The purpose of this video, though, is to discuss the different things that I think you should be doing to better prepare for when that Forsaken DLC comes out. And really there is two key areas that you should be focusing on. Number one, saving up different materials and consumables. And then on the other side, catching up on either your secondary or third characters, or starting a brand new character. So, first and foremost, the things that you should be saving up. The number one thing I think you should be saving up is legendary shards. In my opinion, there's a very strong chance that legendary shards will be a consistent item throughout the Destiny 2 lifespan. These should always be a type of currency that will be useful from now until Destiny 3 comes out. So, you want to make sure that you're not spending these unnecessarily. You want to make sure that you are maximizing your infusions, so not infusing things to get 1 or 2 light. You want to try to be infusing things from milestones or higher level gear so that you're not wasting these unnecessarily. Avoid buying Boon of the Vanguard or Boon of the Crucible from Shaxx and Zavala. Those cost quite a bit of legendary shards, and they're not going to give you much back in return. The only exception to this would be if you are working on your Lost Prophecies with Brother Vance. You want to make sure that you're turning these in when you fulfill a prophecy, because those are giving you really high light level items. So that would be the only exception. By and large, though, just be cognizant about how you're spending your legendary shards and keep saving these up. If you're running low on legendary shards, a nice way of getting more of them is to simply break down some shaders. You probably have a pretty good supply of a lot of different shaders. These you can break down, like I have 39 of these Vanguard Discipline shaders. If I break down one of them, it'll give me 1 legendary shard. So if you're running low, check your shaders. A lot of these legendary shards do give you, a lot of these legendary shaders do give you shards. So that'll be a nice way to bump up your total if you're running a bit low. Aside from legendary shards, you want to be saving some other consumables. So if I head over here to my consumables, I do have a lot of things saved up at this point. The major things you want to be saving up. You want to save up your masterwork cores. There's a strong chance that these will be used, especially with random rolls coming out. I think you want to make sure you're saving these up. Not only that, they are hard to come by. Masterwork gear does drop pretty low. I've made a video on that before about how rare masterwork gear really is. So try to save these up. It's hard to get a nice amount of these, but keep trying to get more and more of these and have them saved up. The other things too that you want to be saving up are your destination tokens. So you probably have a lot of these from doing flashpoints, from working on the faction rallies. You've probably accumulated a nice bit of different faction tokens and different destination tokens. In my opinion, you're better off saving these right now and not turning them in. There's a good chance that any of the weapons or armor that you would get are A, not going to give you much of an increase in light, and then B, you probably already have a lot of those weapons anyway. So more than likely, anything you get, you'd be breaking down anyway. I think you should be saving these. There's a chance that when Forsaken comes out that these will still give you the old gear perhaps, or there will be a new currency system in place where these are being phased out. But on the flip side, there is a chance that these could give you year 2 weapons and armor. So that'll be a great way to try out some of the new gear that's coming out in Forsaken. So it really doesn't make sense to turn these in right now, in my opinion. The same can be said for the shards and the other consumables that you can gain at those locations. So save those up just like you're saving up the tokens. Last but not least, make sure you're saving up your gunsmith materials. So if you're like me, you're breaking down blue gear all the time, and right now I've been saving these up for quite some time. So I have a few stacks here that are maxed out. These are going to be similar to legendary shards in my opinion, where there's a good chance that gunsmith materials are going to be a consistent currency item from now into the Forsaken DLC. Likewise, when you're turning these in, you may be getting some of the new weapons and armor for Forsaken. Worst case scenario, these decrypt or these get turned into year 1 items, and you can break them down and get an additional supply of legendary shards. So make sure you're saving up your masterwork cores, make sure you're saving up your destination tokens, and same thing goes for your gunsmith materials. If you do that, you'll have a nice amount of gear influx when you do start out Forsaken, so you'll be able to try out a lot of the new stuff. That's, I think, the best approach to take when it comes to saving up your materials. The other key thing that I think you can do to get ready for Forsaken is, if you haven't started a second or third character, I highly recommend doing that. I've been playing Destiny 1 and I've always had one of every character. But I know a lot of people, maybe sometimes they only have one character or they have 2 or 3 of the same type. I'd recommend trying out a different character. It's fun to play this game and experience all the different subclasses and supers and all those things. So I'd recommend doing that. For me personally, when I started playing Warmind DLC, my Titan was pretty far behind. So I was able to catch up there doing a lot of the missions for Mercury. I recommend doing those things. I'm currently working on getting Sagira's Ghost Shell. So these are all things that you can be doing in the interim time period leading up to the Forsaken DLC. And it just gives you a more broad experience for the game overall. And the nice thing too is, we have about a month, 5 or 6 weeks leading up to Forsaken. So you don't have to feel the urge or the necessity to grind through and try to get everything done right away. You can slowly play through the main campaign or the DLC campaigns and get your character ready so that when Forsaken does come out, you have a number of characters that you can play with. The last thing I would recommend too to get ready for the Forsaken DLC is be aware and be more opportunistic when it comes to your Glimmer. There's been so many times where I've been playing and I've been breaking down gear and I'm not getting any Glimmer because I'm at the Glimmer cap of 100,000. So one thing I've been doing lately, and I try to be more aware of, is once I get close to that Glimmer cap, I'll just come over here to the gunsmith and I'll buy roughly 25,000 or so worth of random mods. And what I do is I take these random mods and I'll throw them right into my vault. I want to make sure I do still have around 50,000 or 40,000 Glimmer for anything else I may need, applying shaders or infusing items or any of those things that you would spend Glimmer on. And I'll take those blue weapon mods, I'll throw them into my vault, and every week or two I'll take a look at my vault and see which blue mods I have more of 3 then. So we'll go back to my vault here for a second, and I'll take a look, and any blue mods that I have more than 3 of, I don't have any right here, oh, here's one, I'll take these over to the gunsmith and I'll turn these into legendary mods. This way on my character I always have a nice amount of legendary mods that I can apply to weapons, and I'm never wondering, hey, do I have enough, do I not have enough? And it's just nice too because you're maximizing your efficiency when it comes to using your Glimmer. There's really not a whole lot of things you can use Glimmer on, aside from infusing items or applying legendary mods to weapons and armor. The only other thing you can really do is use for shaders and on your weapons, armor, and ships, so keep some for that. The only other thing you can do with it is buy things like the treasure locations, and I don't really think that's worth it. So having mods is never going to hurt you. Having more legendary mods is always going to help you out. So that's the other thing I would recommend doing leading up to Forsaken, is use most of your Glimmer to get blue mods, turn those into legendary mods. That way you have a nice supply and you can do anything you want really when Destiny 2 Forsaken comes out. So these are my tips. Save up on your consumables, work on a second or a third character, and make sure you're using your Glimmer more efficiently. That's my opinion. Let me know if you have any other tips and tricks as well. Put those in the comments. Most importantly though, thanks for watching, and we will all catch up soon.